All right, welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're diving straight into the foundational habits that literally separate truly high-value individuals from, well, everyone else. We're not talking about quick fixes here. We're talking about the absolute core blueprint for high-value discipline. So let's jump right in, shall we?
Let me ask you this right out of the gate. Do you want respect, success, and confidence? Of course you do. It's a pretty universal desire, right? We all want to be respected by our peers, we want to hit our own definition of success, and we all want that unshakable confidence to navigate whatever life throws at us. But, just wanting something and actually getting it, those are two entirely different things.
And that right there is the core problem. There is this massive gap between what we desire and our actual reality. Tons of people out there want the respect and they want the success, but let's be real. Very few are actually willing to put in the daily, totally unglamorous work required to build that foundation. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that high-value status isn't just handed to you, it's built, literally habit by habit.
Which brings us to the first part of our framework, mastering the inner game and building mental and emotional resilience. Because honestly, before you can conquer the world, you've got to conquer your own mind.
So here's our quick roadmap for this inner game. We're going to unpack 3 really critical habits: keeping promises to yourself, controlling your emotions, and finally stopping that endless chase for validation.
Let's start with habit 1. It's all about keeping your promises. But wait, it's not just about keeping your word to other people, though obviously do that. The real secret sauce here is keeping promises to yourself. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, you actually do it. Think about why this is so huge. When you constantly break your own rules, like hitting snooze when you swore you'd wake up early, or blowing off a workout, you're basically eroding your own self-trust. Doing what you say you'll do for yourself is the absolute ultimate foundation of self-respect. Seriously, if you can't even trust your own word, how can you expect anyone else to?
Now, jumping over to habit 3, it is all about emotional control. Every single day, average people get totally derailed by external triggers, right? Anger, rejection, criticism. But the high-value response? It's a whole different ballgame. When faced with anger, a disciplined person just stays in control. They don't let a hot temper hijack their actions. When faced with rejection, they remain totally unfazed. And when they get hit with criticism, they don't crumble into a million pieces. They just keep moving forward. Look, you can't control what the world throws at you, but you have absolute 100% power over your reaction. You just can't let these negative triggers steer your ship. And that brings us to habit 6, which wraps up our inner game segment. Stopping that exhausting chase for validation. True worth is simply knowing your own value without needing a constant stream of approval from everyone else. When you truly grasp your internal worth, you stop acting just to get a round of applause. You act because it actually aligns with your purpose. High-value individuals don't need a pat on the back to know they're heading down the right path.
All right, so now that we've got the internal mindset locked down, let's pivot to executing the outer game, taking physical action and building forward momentum. This is exactly where all those internal beliefs translate into real-world results.
Here's the roadmap for the outer game. We're breaking down 3 more actionable habits: staying heavily focused on your goals, taking care of your physical body, and continuing to learn every single day. Diving right into habit 2. It's no secret most people are just constantly distracted by entertainment these days. Scrolling, watching, consuming, it just never ends. But the disciplined, high-value individual, they are relentlessly focused on their goals. They're busy building their future. Every hour you spend lost in some mindless distraction is literally an hour stolen from building the life you actually want to live. So we really have to stop and ask ourselves, are we just consuming or are we actively creating?
Next up is habit 4, which really just revolves around one simple, undeniable truth. A strong mind performs better in a strong body. Physical care isn't just a nice-to-have. It's an absolute, non-negotiable requirement for mental performance. Taking care of your body isn't just about looking good in the mirror, guys. It is the literal biological engine that drives your success. If you're lethargic, eating garbage, and ignoring your physical health, your mental resilience, that whole inner game we literally just talked about, is eventually going to collapse. You've got to build a physical vessel strong enough to carry your ambition.
And that brings us to habit 5. Skills pay the bills. It's a catchy phrase, sure, but the underlying truth is profound. High-value individuals invest in knowledge every single day. They never stop learning. The world is moving incredibly fast right now, and resting on whatever you learned 5 years ago, yeah, that simply won't cut it anymore. Your active, constantly expanding skill set is your ultimate currency. If you want to increase your value out in the real world, you absolutely have to increase your capability through daily learning.
Which brings us to our final section for today, redefining true value.
which is the ultimate paradigm shift. This is where we're going to dismantle everything society usually tells us about what actually makes someone valuable.
Look, society loves to push this illusion that money and wealth are the ultimate metrics of a high-value person. Well, we're going to shatter that illusion right here, right now. True value is not about money. True value is forged in discipline, purpose, and self-respect. Honestly, money is merely a byproduct that might show up eventually, but the actual value of a person, that's built in their discipline to stay the course, their fierce dedication to a core purpose, and that unshakable self-respect they build by, you guessed it, keeping promises to themselves.
So how do we bring all of this together? The formula is brilliantly simple, yet, I'm not going to lie, incredibly challenging. Step 1, build these 6 habits we just walked through. Step 2, and trust me, this is the hardest part, maintain them long enough. Time is the ultimate crucible here. Consistency is literally everything. And step 3, watch your life completely change. Notice it doesn't say your life might change, it says it will. When you align that inner resilience with your outer actions over a long enough timeline, transformation isn't just possible, it's inevitable. And that leaves us with one final pre-provocative question for you to chew on. Are you ready to stop chasing validation and start actually building the habits of discipline? The blueprint is right there in front of you. The gap between wanting respect and actually having it is simply your willingness to do the daily work. If you found today's explainer valuable, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Keep building those habits, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.